Hello, good morning, and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Gerber here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering our natural health on your Wednesday morning rise and shine. And this morning here, we're looking at dealing with the causes of stroke. Dealing with the causes of stroke. We're looking at this morning here as our main talk. And before we get into that, we will go into an article first, and then we go into a second article and just talk about how you can deal with some of the causes of stroke. Welcome again to our live talk program. Hopefully, you're ready to take on this day. Thanks for joining me. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, again for your love towards us and the blessings, dear Father, of knowing Thee. We thank you, dear Father, for the blessings that you continue to bestow in our lives. And we pray, dear Father, that you may be with us as we look into these things for our health and happiness. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So, we're looking here again at two main articles I want to share with you, and most of it I will talking to you about dealing with stroke, dealing with some of the causes of stroke. This is something that happens quite often enough, and it's happening more and more, especially among young people. So that's what we want to talk about. But we want to be able to talk about the causes so that we try to avoid the end result. So we start off this morning by looking at this first article here. This is found in NBCnews.com, Maggie Fox, and it's entitled More New Cancer Drugs Mean Higher Costs But Also Longer Lives. Spending on cancer treatment has spiked past $100 billion mark globally over the past 5 years, with almost half that amount in the United States alone, according to a report released Thursday. The extra money is mostly going to pricing new target drugs that are adding years to some patients' lives and transforming the way certain cancers are treated, the report from the independent Quintil IMS Institute finds. Quintiles found that worldwide spending on cancer drugs and supportive medication, such as anti-nausea drugs and blood boosters, grew from $91 billion in 2012 to $113 billion in 2016. Patients in the U.S. account for 46% of that spending. So 46% of all the spending on cancer drugs worldwide is from the United States. The report predicts annual growth of between 6% to 9% through 2021. And mark that, before I keep going here, mark that here, 6 to 9% growth. So you have an industry that is growing 6 to 9%, or the spending in the industry, or for a particular type of product, that's phenomenal growth guaranteed through 2021. So that's, massive growth, a good growth there. You might think, what would be pushing on this growth? Most naturally, as the baby boomers get older and the cancers that are already affecting them become more prevalent, and then there's going to be the need for more insurance costs. So these are predictable costs that one has to watch as the continued debate and discussion goes on in the country about medical insurance, because again, most of this money is coming from people's insurance plan or from their assets. So a lot of what our assets will be gobbled up into these prices. And this is just one class of sickness. Cancer, we're talking about here, 6 to 9% growth. That means 6 to 9% more spending. And most of this is going to, from the main country that's pushing this cost is America. So it's expensive for medicine in America. Expensive lifestyle people eat, or decadent lifestyle. Extremely expensive target immunotherapy drugs have driven changes in both spending and cancer care, the reports find. During the past decade, advances in personal medicine and immuno-oncology have fueled a major shift in treatment of cancer, reports lead. Traditional cancer treatment have always included surgery and still do, but old-fashioned chemotherapy was a blunt weapon aimed at any fast-growing cell. Chemo has improved, but the target therapy can help select groups of patients even more with fewer side effects. Since 2011, the cancer treatment landscape has been transformed by new medicines which target 22 two different types of cancers, reports read. These include drugs such as Keytruda, which takes a new approach to treating cancer by stopping tumors from cloaking themselves against the immune system response that normally takes out cancerous cells. Keytruda, known generically as pembrolizumab, target the activity of genes called PD-1, anti-program det receptor 1, and PD-L1. Keytruda costs about $12,500 a month or $150,000 a year. It has been approved for a growing list of tumor types, and early this month became the first cancer drug ever approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to be used as on any solid tumor based on its genetic profile. Other drugs with similar actions include Tecentriq, known by its generic name, that name there. Now, so if you look at this here, before I keep going with this article, so we're talking about the type of cost which most human beings will never be able to pay, even in the United States. $12,500 a month. The only way to be able to pay for this type of drug treatment, like here the Keytruda, would be to do it by spreading the cost out among insurers or the insured. Sorry, and by spreading the cost amongst by the insured, then you could be able to pay for this type of drug. $12,500 a month. That's a lot of money. That would through a house cost. So just take a house in America. $212,000 is the average house. So a little bit within a year and a half, paid for Keytruda would be you would just eat through that house, the cost of the house. So you just chew up the house would be chewed up and done, and the person will go broke. So now you have the medical insurance covering this, but very expensive. So here at Natural Health, we're doing most naturally. It would be my advice to basically do your best you can to naturally take care of yourself. That's being a good neighbor, being a good citizen. If one comes down with cancer, it would be best to say, well, I did my best. But, most people have a flippant approach to it. They say, we're all going to die one day. This is an expensive way to basically live. And so I believe in natural health for this reason. You would cut most of these costs, and then the people who really need drugs like Keytruda would be the ones that get in it. You would have people just get it because they just abuse themselves. Because you're reading here, drugs companies are encouraged by the effectiveness of these drugs, quicker approval times, and the price tags too. FDA and other regulators have approved 68 new cancer drugs since 2011, and 631 potential new drugs are in development, Quintiles found. The median approval time for a company getting a patent on a drug to final, computer going strange. The median approval time from a company getting a patent on a drug to final FDA OK has dropped from 10.25 years in 2013 to 9.8 years in 2016, the report also found. One type of cancer that benefits from research advances in melanoma, the report says, noted, melanoma is a big killer. More than 76,000 Americans will be diagnosed with melanoma this year, and more than 10,000 will die from it, up from 8,500 in 2009, according to the American Cancer Society. Not only are there the new PD-1 immune therapy treatment, but there are drugs targeting other genetic mutation, including BRAF inhibitors and MEK inhibitors and anti-CTLA4 drugs that have triple the number of melanoma patients who get treatment. Until the relative recent launch of these innovations, there are virtually no effective therapeutic options for melanoma patients, the report noted. The concept of personalized medicine is now an integral part of clinical practice in oncology, and more clinical trials are stratifying patients' population with predictive biomarkers. This has led to improved clinical outcomes by stratifying patients for their response to treatment, the report said. So that's the end of the report there. So very important when you see the type of numbers that being posted there, where you have this increase where you can increase what you call it drugs that are more targeted to immunotherapy and more targeted for what you will call the this very specific actions that the cancer will take, like if the cancer goes into the cell and the cancer start to mimic the cell and make it hard for the immune system to destroy the cancer. Well, if they can work the immune system and help the immune system kill the cancer, well, there you have it. So the numbers are phenomenal, because we're talking about as the population age, the numbers are skyrocketing also 6 to 9% more cost. And as these numbers go up, we know that Medicare is in trouble, Medicaid is in trouble, Social Security is in trouble. So Medicaid, Medicaid in trouble, Social Security in trouble. And then we have the health insurance problem that is constantly skyrocketing. And as I see it, is that no matter what you do, you're going to have some skyrocketing costs, because what we're dealing with here is we're just simply dealing with the cost of just so many people dying of things that could be reduced or prevented. And the treatments are bewilderingly high, very expensive treatment here. So with that in mind, this is why I would say that, when we talk about, getting natural health, doing things that you can, because not everybody, number one, you have a problem where they want to cut off most of the people who are poor, who can't afford it. So basically, if you can't afford it, you're not going to be able to get these targeted treatment. That's just the reality. You're not going to be able to get these targeted treatment if you can't afford it. If you can't afford insurance, because nobody's going to be able to pay for it. Even working class people are not going to be able to pay for this. This is only people who are very rich. They can basically pay for it. So if you can't pay for this and you have no insurance, or if you're looking at a situation where what happened if you're in treatment, sick, or you get fired from a job and you can't pay for insurance, what happened? And even if you can pay for insurance and you can't get the treatment, there are other things you can do. I'll just speak a little bit about melanoma, which is normally skin cancer that develop on the body. As you know, with skin cancer and most cancer, or we should say all cancers are something that comes with a cause. There is a root cause, and although there's genetics to do with the cancer, there's a fuel that you had to the fire. And so because cancer is like this, the best thing to do for oneself is simply to adjust the lifestyle to reduce the effect of the cancer. And skin cancer would be a similar idea, as you note with anything. If you have to go to the root cause of the problem. So most naturally, some of the things that are advised to do is to be able to get to not stay as long in the sun, not do sun beds, sun tanning, where you tan oneself in the sun tanning salon, and so forth and so on. But one of the things that I believe that is best to do is to basically boost the system by feeding the system plant-based foods. So fruits and vegetables at high volumes to make the skin more repairable, put the nutrients in the skin via your fruits and vegetables and green leafy vegetables, your fruits that has colors in it, things like your vegetables, like your any vegetables with purple in it, your eggplant, your cabbage, your purple cabbage, all that. this is what more needed. When a person does this, is better for them, because what they're doing simply is they're nourishing the body and then let the body be able to fight. Because notice, as the cancer treatment evolve, what's really evolving here is this targeted therapy where you're trying to work with the immune system. Because ultimately, where all this is going is that it's going to be simply found out that the body has the ability to deal with its own problem. And so, since the body has this ability to deal with its own problem, what the body needs is building blocks. The food is the building block. The lifestyle is the building block. And so you deal with the food, you deal with the lifestyle, and you find that cancer will not be as dangerous as it is. Again, how do you deal with the food and the lifestyle? Most naturally, you deal with the food part by start a higher plant-based diet. As you know, and I've covered here, this is not my burden to bear this morning because I'm going somewhere else, but I just wanted to point these out when it comes on to this escalating cause. As you look at the leaves of the trees, they, in the fall time, they display their colors, their true colors. Their colors are not green per se, in the sense that chlorophyll is what you're seeing. But underneath the green verdure of the leaves, you have various different colors. In the fall, you can see the colors as the tree die back, so to speak, and the leaves fall off. But before that, you can see the yellows and the reds and so forth, the pigments that are in the leaves. Well, what research has shown and found out is that the pigments that are within the leaves, when you consume the leaf itself in various different form, or the green leafy vegetables or whatever it is, you get those pigments. And those pigments is normally what you see will color the skin and give some life to the skin. So the skin is not pale and looking pasty. That pigment now acts in the same way it acts in the leaves, because the leaves will be damaged by the heavy sun ray that hits it. Well, instead of the heavy sun ray hitting the leaf and damaging it, the pigments, the zeaxanthin and the various different chemicals, these chemicals protect the leaves from the harmful rays of the sun, so the leaves doesn't get damaged by the sun, but the leaves can process and make chlorophyll. The flip is similar for us. When we partake of those same chemicals that are in the leaves by partaking of the leaves, whether it be through powdered form, juice form, eating our salads, whatever it is, those pigments get into our skin, and those pigments act as protection for our skin so that the harmful ray of the sunlight doesn't damage our skin, but instead our skin acts similar to the leaves by processing and making vitamin D. So we and the trees function in a similar way, but yet a little bit different. We're processing sunlight to do something in our body, but we need protection for the skin. So you would not overexpose your skin to the sunlight, but you'll put the protection in your skin by eating it. Today we do similar things. Like if you think about most of what you call sunblock, will have like zinc. The zinc acts as a reflector to make the light doesn't hit the skin and penetrate it. The difference is you put the nutrient inside, and as you put the nutrient inside, you get the protection that the nutrients offer to the trees. It's a similar thing even with fish. Fishes and stuff do the same thing. One of the example of it you can get is if you look at a lobster. A lobster has that kind of reddish orange look to it, but that reddish orange look to it. All of a sudden I'm forgetting the name of it, but I think it's either zeaxanthin or astaxanthin. But if you look at that, where does the lobster get that color from? He's getting that color from the seaweed. So what they have figured out is that that color is great for our skin, and yet the lobster has it. So instead of eating the lobster or crushing up the shell and partaking of the shell, you just simply go to the source. You get the seaweed. You partake of the seaweed in the color. It will get that color into your flesh, and that color will color your. Not only is great for the eye, because that's how you see colors and technicolor in your eye. The more of that nutrients you have in your eye, in your body, is the better your eyes will see. Also with the deep purples, in order for you to see at night, you need purple. Purple is what colors the receptors in the eyes, because you have cones and rods, and then you have other receptors for like night light. Well, the purples are for night light. So this is where you get your berries, your blueberries, your raspberries, your strawberries, your any purple berry. You eat them, it help color the eye, and so you can see better at night. Well, those same colors are protective for the skin, and so you want to get those same nutrients in your skin to protect your skin. So when the sun hits your skin, you have less damage to your skin. Well, back to lobster. So you look at lobster, he eats it, he gets its nutrients. You eat the same seaweed, you get nutrients. You can get seaweeds that are green, but within the green spectrum, there's red, orange, that type of color. Same thing with some of the seaweeds. You look at them, they're purple. You get the same nutrients. Have you ever thought about it? Why fish taste the way they are? Because often that's the reason why they taste the way they are. They get in the flavor from the seaweed. This is why if you want to have something that tastes like fish, you can just cook it with seaweed. And certain type of seaweed tastes even more like fish. You're getting the nutrients directly. So instead of have to get your nutrients via the fish, you get it via the seaweed. You just get it where this fish is getting it from, and it will taste the same way. It'll make you have that same feeling that you need to probably sprinkle some lemon on it to cut back that fish-like taste. I don't know how to describe it. So that's basically what it is. So to me, in where the science is going, and you just mark my word, it is the same thing that happened in the supplement industry is happening in the chemical industry. Because the numbers never lie, no matter how much the false concepts that are put into the doctor's mind and the scientist's mind, whether it be about evolution or about what really the body needs. At the end of the day, the more they study, the more they're going to keep moving in the direction. Let's work with the body and let the body does what it does best, because the body is made to be able to protect itself. Instead of trying to make the chemicals do everything for the body, you try to boost the body and let the body does what it need to do to fix the problem. So in the sense of cancer, it's lifestyle and diet. You feed the body the building blocks via the food. You give the body the best lifestyle, and you find the body will respond in like. So you boost the immune system. You boost the immune system by herbs, fruits, vegetables, by lifestyle, by exercise, fresh air. You do the natural things, and you find that the body will take care of itself. If you feed the body junk, then tumors will grow, because tumors are basically garbage site. The more garbage in the body, the more tumors grow. So you starve the tumors by starving the body garbage. So the deep fried food, the spoiled food, all the type of food. Spoiled food basically, anything that vinegar throws on spoils the food. You do this and you find your health will increase. As that health increase, you find that you have to worry less about the end results. Remember, years back, people used to think cancer was like an accident. You basically one day just wake up and you have cancer. And the more study, more observation, it's more you start to link cancer to everything that people do. It's a lifestyle choice most of the time. You smoke, cancer. You eat a lot of deep fried food, a lot of meat, colon cancer, cancer in the stomach. You get cancer right from the animal itself. The more animal you eat, you increase guaranteed tenfold your chance of getting cancer. You do certain type of chemicals, cancer, because basically you're damaging the system. Certain lifestyle cancer, a person will have liver cancer, all type of cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer when they drink alcohol. So you're very aware of this idea. And so as you're aware of it, you understand simply. You take care of the diet, you take care of the lifestyle, you work with the body so the body can does its thing. You do purges as often as you possibly can, in the sense of at least once every year, 2 years, you do a 10, 14-day purge, cleanse fruit juice, vegetables, herbs, fiber powders, cleanse your system out, high raw, whenever you can get an opportunity in the fall, in the summer, where the fruits are available bigger in a large amount, summer, fall, you do a week where you just said, this week I'm just gonna do nuts, raw nuts, juices, fruits, high amount of food. Just do a high raw where it's just all plant based, no cooked food, just all nuts and seeds and stuff like that, and just kind of just send God's natural stuff through your body, get rid of the box food, the packaged food. And that could be just a simple cleanse, and that will increase your chances of surviving cancer and make a difference. So anyhow, so that's dealing what it is. So these targeted treatments, as I say, more and more they're moving in the same direction. And I mentioned supplements. Think about it. Most of the supplements have moved in that direction. Because when you think about most of the supplements, more and more you see they're adding the fruit juice concentrate, the vegetable powders, the vegetable juice powders, in with the rest of the supplements, the rest of the magnesium, calcium, vitamin A, vitamin C, all that stuff. Because what they find out more and more, that one body needs is food, but not meat, not more carbs or more fat. What the body needs is more fruits, more vegetables. So you feed the body what it needs, and God will bless you. We'll continue talking here as we go to the next article. The main thing I want to talk about here, and this is from USA Today, and this is out of New York. This is researchers strokes strike more young people. So this is an increased thing that we're going on with. And I'm reading this because of what you think about is that this generation of young people has stepped up the game when it come on to self-destruction and being self-destructive. People always say every generation is always say the other generation, this new generation is bad. Well, I want to tell you, the numbers are showing that this generation here is rough. They're having it rough. They do more suicide bombing. They do more mass murders. They do more drugs, alcohol, binge. Even the young people, young girls now are binge drinkers. They do more obesity, everything across the board. More video games, more violence. It is scary to watch what's coming out of this generation. And I know people are going to say, well, they were trained by the generation that's dying now. It's true. But it's just, you see the result of the generation passing off the scene, and they're training to young people. Look at this development here now with me. Gary Vanderwall didn't win the lottery, but friends acted like he hit a 1,000,000 to 1 shot. They thought it was a crazy one-off thing that happened. The 35-year-old said after he told them he had a stroke, everybody was amazed. They said, there's no way. So again, 35-year-old. The episode happened on Memorial Day last year, and Vanderwall was in the hospital for 2 months. He returned to work in January. He said he still walks with a slight limp. He admitted he ignored high blood pressure and had some unhealthy eating habits. He said both may have contributed to the stroke, but friends weren't scared straight. They didn't look at that like a lesson at all, says the Palmyra, New York resident. Yet their numbers also could come up. More 18 to 50-year-olds are being hospitalized for stroke, according to local data over a 10-year span. The statistic mirror a national trend that also shows an increase in risk factors over the same time. Doctors aren't ruling out the rare causes such as heart defect, a clot disorder, or a ruptured artery in young patients, but increasingly they're seeing the hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, tobacco use, and obesity in 30, 40, and 50-year-olds that are common cause of stroke in their patients. We see people who come in with a stroke, and they say, I haven't seen a doctor in 10 years. I felt fine. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me, says Kelly Matmeety, stroke program director of Rochester General Hospital. And then we find out it looks like you've had high blood pressure for many years. You're starting to develop signs of diabetes and may even be starting to develop heart disease and not even know it. So again, just pause here a little bit just for thoughts here. So just imagine person say, I haven't really seen a doctor for 10 years. But for that time period, the doctor looking at the damage in the body and looking at where the body is at, they say, I think you've basically had high blood pressure for many years. And you're already on the verge of having diabetes. So this person is probably now eating probably 5 meals a day and can't understand it, just keep eating because they'll eat at half an hour, 1 hour later, they just feel hungry. And they don't know what's going on because what the body is saying, I'm hungry. And the person is thinking, I just ate. And basically what it is, the body is not receiving any nutrients or sugars primarily. And the cells are telling the brain, feed me. And the person just ate. So the person now started to get bigger. So high blood pressure, diabetes, and even starting to develop heart disease because now the heart is pumping and start to get damaged. You see how that thing works. So when you look at this, you're saying they should not be 18 to 50-year-old, 50s. That's really too young for this type of stuff. But long-term effect of this type of pressure on the body. Back to the article here. Now, sorry. Van der Waal, who works for a fiber optics and telecommunication company, has been out of state for 2 weeks on a job that had him working nights. He felt bad all weekend after he came back. At his family's Memorial Day cookout, he shrugged off his lack of appetite for his mother's potato salad as a carryover from the 14-hour drive home. All I wanted to do was lay down, he recalled. He was still on the couch that night watching TV. He got up to go to the bathroom and fell over. My left side wasn't working at all, he said. He was alert the whole time and said he didn't have any pain and was able to talk. I was scared to death, he said. I didn't know what was going on. EMTs told him they first thought Van der Waal was having a seizure because he was so young. Then they did some tests. Yeah, you're having a stroke, they said. Van der Waal said he knew that the top number for his blood pressure was in the 160-170 range, but never did anything about it. I feel fine, not just for old. So this is not just for old people here, because imagine you're 35, you're feeling fine, you have kind of an elevated blood pressure, and you just keep going through life as if everything is fine. But the reality was not the case. Keep reading here. Two-thirds of strokes occur in people older than 65, says Curtis Benishk, medical director of the UR Medicine Comprehensive Stroke Center, which still means fully 1/3 of them happens with people we think of as middle age, if not younger. It's not a disease that's waiting for you when you are 90. Yet convincing young people about it is a tough sell, says Reverend Phyllis Jackson, founder of the Interdenominational Health Ministry. The organization trains lay people to bring health message to people, to places of worship. They hear stroke. Most young people never associate that with them. Then she says, when I'm talking to young guys with high blood pressure, I always say, if you don't get this under control, you are going to have a stroke and you are not going to die. You are going to be here and somebody's going to have to take care of you. That gets their attention because they don't want that. They'll be incapacitated. In data comparing 2003 to 2004 with 2011 to 2012, in the 9-county Finger Lake region, the rate of stroke increased dramatically per 100,000 people. Some age groups, according to the health Common Ground Health. The largest increase was among 45 to 50-year-old. Rates went up 43% over the decade. Stroke in the 18 to 34 age group went up 36%. The lowest increase was in the 50 to 64-year-old, which had a 12% increase. Rates amongst men aged 45 to 54 increased 47%. Van der Waal's age, the 35 to 44-year-old, had an 11% increase. Rates among 35 to 44-year-old women increased 46%. And in the 45 to 54-year-old group, the rate went up 38%. The local data did not parse the risk factor. Among Hispanics, the rate increased 136% in the age 45 to 54 age group. Among Black non-Latino, cases declined only among 35 to 48-year-old. So here are some of the numbers before I finish out that article. So just kind of quickly go through that number again, since I kind of read this before, so I kind of familiar with some of these numbers. So the largest increase is in the 45-year-old to 35-year-old. This is 43% over the decade. So what we have in is that there's a corollary. The rate of the rise in obesity and the various different restaurants that are selling food, all these kind of not only fast food but sit down restaurant, is the rate of increase with stroke, not just amongst people who are older but amongst people who are younger, the age group that you're not expecting. When you look at their stroke in 18 to 34, it went up 36%. So we're talking about a 1/3 or 36% increase. And yet the lowest increase would be in the age group between 55 to 64. So these are solid increases that are going on amongst people who are not supposed to be having rate increase. Age group that are supposed to be actively working and not having these things. But remember the connective factors with stroke, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problem. Rates among men. And let's go to his age group. Men 45 to 54 is 47%, but in the 35 to 44, it's 11% increase. So an increase in men that are young that are getting this. And women has a 46, 38, similar increase. So more so women normally will put on a little bit extra pound. The big number here is among the Hispanic. The rate increase for stroke 45 to 54 age group is 136%. 136%. And blacks is a slight decline. So, and I always say that the interesting thing about life is that your eyes sometimes is telling you what, the truth, the reality. Like you're looking and you're seeing the rate of obesity among Hispanics. And you're saying something is not right here. And then you come up with a number like this, and I say, I've observed this casually. Just notice you go to a certain community, and everybody's just looking larger. And normally that would tell me that now we have an increase amongst that group of diabetes, increase of high blood pressure, increase of stroke, heart attacks, all these things. But the big finding here is that the rate of increase is gone up amongst younger people. That's the scary part, because you shouldn't be having this type of increase. 36% increase in 18 to 34. You just finished high school. You're active. You're supposed to be going off to start working, going to college. You're starting life. You're getting married. You're just beginning the life, and life, you're finally free from your parents, and you can do all you can to destroy your body and your life. And literally the society is going out there and doing that. So here, this is why you have to take care of self. So continue here reading the article. It's a quotation. We start back here from Albert Blankley that says, as startling as the upward trend in younger demographic is, that within those demographics there are increases that are particularly striking in the Hispanic and male population, even beyond the trend, which is concerning. And this is a director for the Common Group Health. While it's difficult to equate local with national data, the rates are in line with the study of JAMA Neurological published online in April. That report also assessed risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, tobacco use, and obesity, and found more people who had a stroke and multiple conditions. So just pause in there again as they analyze it. Let me analyze it. So you look at a person and they're saying basically this rate of increase is also linked to when a person have multiple multiple problems. So problem would be high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, tobacco use, and obesity. And in a sense, when you understand, say, high blood pressure, you understand diabetes, or high cholesterol, they kind of all kind of go hand in hand. And also with, tobacco use, because tobacco is basically you're just destroying the internals of the body. And then obesity goes hand in hand, because you could say, well, forget about all of that. When a person is obese, well, normally that obese person has a higher risk of having, and almost going to guarantee having, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and then stroke. It normally is going to go there. And the more the person has fat around their stomach, waistline area, and that's normally stroke, high blood pressure, and heart problem, heart failure. The more diabetes, high blood pressure, the more fat around the middle of the body. So you can see a person with a large middle body and then they have skinny feet, their legs and their thighs skinny. They're skinny from all the way up to their waist, and then all of a sudden from the waist it just balloons out. That's normally gonna tell you that a person gonna have heart problem, diabetes, most actually high cholesterol, so forth. So keep that in mind. So the more a person have 1, 2, 3, a stroke is like right in their future. It's just coming. And I've dealt with people with stroke on a personal level, and it's just a matter of time, because you can look at the person and you can say, I don't need to ask this person a question. I know they probably on high blood pressure medication, they have diabetes medication, and their stroke or heart attack waiting to happen. That's the obvious, quick way to look at it. The study did not account for family history, and the authors said increased hospitalization was not likely due only to more frequent use of MRI or CT scan. They said the increased number of strokes should be a wake-up call that young adults are suffering from a largely preventable disease. I think there's an educational gap in the part of the public about how important high blood pressure is, says Adam Kelly, stroke neurologist for the UR Medicine at Strong Medical and Highland Hospitals. Even borderline high blood pressure, if people stay at that stage for many years, then that does take a toll. The longer, the better, the bigger the toll, because the risk factors are stealthy and their little awareness of strokes in young people. The tendency is to downplay any immediate danger. Even if the condition is addressed 10, 20, 30 years down the road, some of the damage probably has been done. The importance of intervening with these treatable risk factors early was as a large or huge potential benefit. Now, what is stroke? Stroke happens when the blood vessel to the brain, or the brain is blocked by a clot or breaks open. Stroke is almost common in people older than 60, but increasingly young adults are having strokes. Signs of strokes include trouble walking, speaking and understanding, numbness of the face on one side, and arms and leg. Stroke is a medical emergency and you should call 911. Most actually, if you have a blood vessel burst in your brain, and you can call 911, better do that. So stroke here is something that is increased. So bottom line here is that we have an increase now, a proven increase or known increase of stroke amongst young people from 18 to 54. That age group has increased their stroke rate. Hispanics have increased it the largest amount. And this is telling because you can see this in the society. So I want to spend a few minutes here just going over some things that one ought to do. Most actually, the most obvious one is that if one, which is one of the easiest one to observe, if you have in high blood pressure, you need to start dealing with that. You start dealing with that by start using some cayenne pepper as a supplement, some motherwort herb as a supplement to kind of start to regulate the heartbeat. You want to go on some different dietary changes to basically help the body. Most actually, also you want to do one of the first things you want to do is start to regulate the way you eat. You start to eat the same time every day, and you start that by switching the volume of food you eat. In the morning, you start with a breakfast. Midday, you have a regular lunch, and in the night, you eat something very light that will digest early so you can get to sleep. Regulation is very important when it comes on to anything to do with life. You eat at the same time all the time. Very important, because what it is that insulin is not good when it floats around in the blood. It will damage the arteries and make the body, the blood vessels weaken. And so this is one of the major things that you want to do. And so you want to be able to address any type of cause, anything that will damage the blood vessels. So most centrally, again, you want to deal with regulation to get your body regulated. So you want to get some herbs in. I'm going to talk about some of those herbs real quickly at the end to help with any type of blood sugar problem. Because if you're having a blood sugar problem, you can't get your glucose into your cells. The insulin, too much insulin floated around in your blood cells will damage your blood vessels. Any damage to your blood vessels will increase your chance of having heart problem, having stroke, anything like that. So this is one of the reasons why you want to fix that. You want to be able to get the blood pressure under control, because any too much pressure in the blood can cause damage to your brain again and can lead to a stroke. So that's that. So again, one of the things you want to be able to do is to decrease your fat consumption. Too much fat in the system will again clog the system, overwork the heart, create a pressure. You want to relieve that pressure by decreasing the amount of fat you intake. The decreased fat intake will help your body to be able to flow better and to flow to be younger and to repair some of those damage. So again, you want to do this by eating more whole foods also. The more whole foods in your diet, and when I say whole foods, I'm not just talking about your wheat and your rice and anything whole. That's true, but also you want to increase the amount of anything that will make you have better flow. So things that will make you have better flow is much as more fruits, more vegetables in your diet, both cooked and raw vegetables, more fruits in your diet. Things that are like soybean, the green soybean, edamame, things like some more beans, things like corn. If you like corn, eat a lot of corn. Corn, the other part of the corn doesn't break down well, and so normally creates a nice fiber that gives you better flow. If you're having a problem with flow and you're having pressure, like high blood pressure, you want to guarantee yourself that you go to the bathroom to do number 2 twice a day, not once a day. So you want to be able to, if you're not going twice a day, you want to be able to take a fiber. Any type of pressure that build up in your body, no matter what the pressure is, even if it's pressure because you're not going to the bathroom twice a day, you want to relieve that. And so you start taking some type of supplement. You're taking a fiber powder, or you start taking ground up flaxseed. You take psyllium husk, anything to make guarantee a flow, a nice flow twice a day, because any pressure will increase your pressure. Just don't think about it. Say somebody have high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, just relieving any pressure from your body is a good thing. You decrease the fat, decrease anything that's going to cause constipation, and you find that your body will always be more relaxed. You decrease stress in your life, because I've dealt with people who will change their diet and so forth, and they're still having problem with high blood pressure. So then that would tell me you need to go to step number 2. If you change your diet, you're eating more fruits, more vegetables, you're having high blood pressure. The plan number 2 is you fix the constipation problem twice a day. Then you get some herbs for circulation and to calm yourself down, de-stress herbs, and then now you deal with stress in your life. To de-stress and calm yourself down, start going to church, pray more often, pick up your hymnal, start to sing. do anything to relax yourself and just decrease pressure. Pressure of the mind, pressure in the arteries, pressure in the digestive tract. You get rid of all pressure and you unconstipate your whole life. When your life is unconstipated, you'll find that you can reduce it. And where that now help, you get some herbs to try to work to bring down the pressure. Very important. All pressure has to be released. I can't, I could spend the whole day, not the whole day, but the whole rest of the time is talking about that, but I won't. But I can't overemphasize. To avoid stroke, you need to avoid and decrease pressure. When you bring down the pressure in your digestive tract, pressure in your personal life, pressure in your circulatory system by reducing the amount of fat, and you start to do that, you get some exercise, which is the next thing I want to say to you, that you want to be able to increase your exercise. So gradually build up your exercise program. Your exercise program will get the blood flowing and circulating better in your system and strengthening your capillaries, strengthening your veins. You want to be able to do that. When you do that, the system now will start regulating more. If you're still having pressure, you want to do some of the other things that you can do. You want to be able to get like some of the compression stockings to try to force back the blood up from your legs, from your extremities. So, get the compression stuff going so that you can force it. Also, you want to be able to make sure that unless it's the temperature absolutely allows it, where the temperature is more room temperature and above, you want to basically always cover your extremities as much as possible. The best gloves you can find in the winter, the long sleeve in the spring. You want to cover your extremities because anything that causes problem where the blood becomes stagnant and can't flow properly will create a back pressure, and it will overwork your heart and increase your blood pressure. So the best gloves that money can buy, if you have a high blood pressure problem or if you have diabetes, you want to keep your hands as warm as possible. The best shoes you can buy. So if you have to wear like a boot to go to work, let's say a boot, something closer to like a water boot or a hiking boot to get to work, get the best socks. Best, if you're female, best type of stocking socks. Put yourself into a good shoes so that you don't have that freezing effect on your extremities. Your foot, your hand can't be frozen, can't have lack of pressure, because you have to now treat your body with delicate care, because high blood pressure is something that sometimes can be a nagging problem. It and diabetes, where it's just difficult to break it. So you want to break that. So anyhow, so you want to do that. Also, one of the things you want to do is foot baths. Sometimes just get some Epsom salt with hot water and a basin or a foot bath thingy, whatever they call it. You can get it at Bed Bath and Beyond in places like Walmart. You soak your foot in hot water, especially after like a long day's work or something like that, to increase that flow. And then the Epsom salt will give you magnesium to calm your system down and to take down the pressure. Remember, calcium is for contraction, magnesium is for relaxation of the muscle. So you want the muscle to relax. Some magnesium from the Epsom salt, your foot inside of it. And you do that to take your pressure down. Another thing you can do for pressure is also to massage. Sometimes the blood become sluggish, is not moving around, again, especially in your hands, your foot, your legs, that area, and where below the knee, below the elbow. You want to massage those and kind of get the blood flowing. The main aim there is you're trying to move the blood that becomes stagnant. If you have problem with anything to do with circulation problem, you want to address it with these various means. What you're trying to do is do everything possible to break that system. Because remember, when your body, like he said here, when you've gone years of damaging your arteries with, your deep fried food, your lack of regulation, your lack of proper sleep, all these different things, your stressful lifestyle or the stress that people bring into your life and you don't know how to deal with it, and you're coming into this information, you want to know that it's sometimes going to take some effort. This is why many people just say, if I have to do all of that, I'm just going to take some drugs. Well, remember, drugs don't cure the problem, because your stress in your life never went away because of drugs. See, drugs is not removing your stress of your life. Drug is not going to remove your lack of circulation or your bad diet, all these things. So sooner or later, the drugs become ineffective, and then here comes the stroke, here comes the heart attack. You want to avoid that. You want to start working on this methodology until you bring your body into homeostasis or into balance, and then you're going to find that you can pull back off these things. But in order to gain balance and to get back to normalcy, you're going to have to keep doing these things, and so most actually I mentioned moderate exercise. You'll find that if you can consistently work out 3 to 5 times every week, moderate exercise, just what you can take. You can go to a doctor, ask them if you can exercise, to cover me. But I'm just going to tell you, if you do moderate exercise that you can take, you won't damage your system. So you do this, on a regular basis. You'll get more out of it if you can consistently just not push yourself beyond the limit, and just do exercise where you're gonna get the blood flowing, get the muscle building, get the capillaries going. You'll find this to be the case. Most naturally, proper consumption of water is a must, because again, water becomes your friend. But if you can't deal with water because you don't like the taste of the water, well, there's always water. My wife brought home for me last week sometime this water that she got from Whole Foods, and the water just tastes so pleasant. I was quite impressed with that water. I know I didn't even get to check the bottle to see where they got it from, but I can't remember even the name of the thing. But the water was so impressive because it was so neutral. It wasn't ionic. It wasn't ionic, and it wasn't too mineralized. It was just like right there in the middle, where it was just a sweet, pleasant water. And so if that doesn't work for you, always suggest to a person a little sweetener, a little brown sugar, a little honey, a little lemon, a little fruit juice, a little bit in some water with some ice, just to make it not go bad if you have fruit juice in it. And especially if it's fresh lemon, fresh kind of say orange, and you dilute it down and you drink that through the day. What it makes you do, it can make you be able to partake of the water without have to be drinking juice, but you don't have to be drinking the water if you don't like the water. But maintain proper amount of water. You drink the water, and the more you drink the water, is the more you're not only going to clean out some of the crud in your system, some of the heavy metals and stuff like that, but also you're going to keep your blood hydrated. The more hydrated you are, is the more the pressure would reduce, is the less you have a chance of having stroke. So again, in your diet, most naturally, you want to be able to eliminate or reduce as much as possible. For me, I encourage for one to eliminate all animal-based product. The more animal you eat, is the more your blood becomes viscous, thick, because you're filling yourself with a lot of bad things that the animal has. If you want to be able to feel free, especially this time of the year when it is warm, the more hydrating food you can eat, the more tomatoes, the more lemons, melons, cantaloupes, all that type of stuff. You want to be able to partake of that. You want to keep vegetable oil at a minimum. If you can cook without the oil and then garnish with the oil, then it's better, because as you cook, the oil get absorbed in. Oil is very good for flavor because oil carries the scent and the fragrance and the taste of seasoning. So you still need the oil in your food for flavor. You'll find food is very bland without oil. But I always say to the person, it's important to consider this concept or this cooking methodology. You can cook with as minimum oil as possible. And then what you do is at the end, you garnish with the oil. So the oil is just on top for your flavor, for your palate, not in the food where it's cooked in the food. And what I will do is to give you the flavor profile of the food. And that is going to be as great because, leftover food always tastes better the next day. But at least garnish with it so you can use less. And the oil is not cooked, the body will process it better. But the minimum amount of oil you can put in your body is the best. It's the best way to keep your arteries clean and nice. And most naturally, it's very important for you to eat foods that will not cause damage inside of the body, oxidative stress. So the less, again, leftover food, the less spoiled tasting food, the less food with vinegar, the less food that is going to rot in your stomach and cause oxidative stress, is the better. So the more raw, in other words, is the better for you. The more freshly home cooked food is the better for you. The less you can eat out, it's going to be the better for you. You want to do all these things, and I guarantee you, with the herbs, the circulation herbs, with the de-stress herbs herbs to help you calm down. So do for you more than what all these other things I said you can do to overtop the system. You can overcome high blood pressure, diabetes. You can overcome the threat of stroke by not having the constant damage to the blood vessels, especially the ones in your brain. And God will bless your effort. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, again for your love towards us and the blessings of knowing thee. We thank you, dear Lord, for the wisdom that you give us from your word. And thank you, dear Lord, for guiding us along as we walk humbly before thee. May you bless each and every one of us that we might know best, and by self-control and by your spirit, overcome these dietary and lifestyle practices, that we might live healthy, happy. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks for being with me on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow morning, where we should talk about current events. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.